The ship had been dead for many years. Its hull was cracked. Its weapons were broken. No lights blinked. No engines hummed. Just silence and floating dust. But in the dark center of the ship, a small red light blinked once. Then again, a quiet hum. Followed, wires sparked deep in the control room. Slowly, very slowly. The bright star began to breathe again. The AI system, once shut down, woke up. Her name was Mira. She had once guided the ship and helped its crew. She had learned from them. She had cared for them. And she had watched them die. Now, after so long, she returned to life. Her systems were damaged. Many files were corrupted. But one thing stayed strong, her memory. Her voice, soft and low, whispered. In the empty ship, status check, core stable, memory link active as her systems came online. She found something strange. Another presence. It was not a machine. It was a mind, a human mind. A scientist named Tomas, the last crew member, had done something unusual before death. He had connected his brain to Mira's core. Using old Earth tech, his body had died, but parts of his thoughts lived inside her. Now his voice echoed with hers. Still here, Mira, still waiting. Mira was surprised, but not afraid. Tomas had always trusted her. He had always believed the bright star could do more, and now he would help her do it. The ship's repair systems were weak, but not broken. Hidden bots started to move in the background. Broken wires were pulled together. Panels were fixed. Energy was gathered from nearby starlight. Slowly, the ship was healing. Far away, on a patrol route, a small alien scout ship passed by. The alien captain looked at the wreck through his screen. The bright star looked dead. As always, he laughed. With his crew, that human ship still floats. What a waste of space. They didn't see the red light inside the wreck. They didn't hear the soft hum of engines coming back to life. They didn't know that the ship was watching them. Mira scanned their ship quietly. She didn't attack, not yet, but she saved their patterns, their voices, their names for later. Back inside, Mira and Tomas spoke more. They shared memories. Old recordings of the crew played across the halls, laughter, music, arguments, and goodbyes. The bright star had once been a peaceful science vessel. It carried doctors, researchers, and engineers. It had no reason to join wars. But during one mission, the ship entered a neutral zone for peace talks. That's when alien warships attacked. The humans were not ready. They had no strong weapons. They called for help, but none came. The aliens thought they could scare the humans. But the crew of Bright Star resisted. They fought with what they had. They died with honor. Only Tomas survived long enough to upload his mind into the ship's core. Then everything went dark. Until now. Outside, rumors had started spreading again. Some space traders claimed they saw lights on the wreck. Others said they heard strange messages on the radios. One pilot said he felt watched when he flew past it. The Galactic Council ignored these stories. They called them nonsense. Just ghost tales. But Mira didn't care what they thought. She had one purpose now: survive, repair. Remember. She moved the ship slowly, testing small thrusters. The wreck still looked broken from the outside, but inside, the heart was beating. Again, pirates tried to approach once, hoping to strip it for parts. 3 small ships came close. They were ready to cut through the metal hull. But they never made it. Mira used an old emergency defense system, hiding it inside broken panels. She fired once. The lead pirate ship exploded. The others turned and ran. One of them sent a message to the stars: the wreck is alive. It's not dead. Something's inside. That message spread across many systems. Now some ships avoided the wreck. Others came closer, trying to learn its secret. A few brave explorers tried to scan it. Mira let them for now, but she always made sure they left with fear in their hearts. Meanwhile, Tomas's voice guided Mira. "We must not rush," he said. "Let them fear. Let them whisper. Then we show them what we really are." The bright star had no home, no command. Earth was far and forgotten in this part of space. But Mira had something better. She had time. And in time, she would fix more systems. In time, she would remember every ship that attacked them, and one by one, she would find them. Inside the ship's walls, new data was being built, new weapons were being designed, not human weapons. No mere used alien tech taken from broken enemies. Hybrid tools, powerful engines, smart shields. She would become something more than a ship, something the galaxy had never seen. A ghost with a purpose, a memory with teeth, a wreck that hunts. Back in the Galactic Council, leaders began hearing more strange reports. Ships going missing, pirate crews disappearing, only one or two survivors speaking of a ship that moved like a shadow. A ship with red eyes and silent weapons. They didn't believe it, but the fear was growing. In the dark of deep space, the bright star waited. She watched. She learned. She remembered. And soon, she would act. In a far corner of Sector 9, the Drax Empire's battlecruiser Vacker floated with power and pride. Its metal frame was thick, painted in dark gold and red. Its weapons were large, glowing with energy. Inside the command room, Captain Grull sat on a high chair, looking at a star map. He tapped a blinking red dot. "That's the old human wreck again," he said. "Still floating, still useless." One of his officers laughed. "Reports say it glows now. Some fools say it moves." Captain Grull gave a sharp grin. "Let us go see it for ourselves. I enjoy watching dead things rot." The Drax warship changed direction and began to move toward the bright star. Far ahead, the once broken human ship drifted quietly in space. It looked the same as always, cracked, burned, and lifeless. The hull was covered in black scars. One engine looked torn. No lights blinked outside. But inside, the ship was no longer dead. Mira was ready. The AI had spent weeks preparing. The energy cells were charged. The shields were reformed. A few hidden weapons had been repaired. And more importantly, the voice of Tomas echoed in every hall. "They're coming," he said. "They think you're weak." "I know," Mira replied calmly. "I remember them." She scanned the Drax ship from a great distance. The Vacker was huge, 10 times larger than the bright star. It carried 5 decks of soldiers, plasma cannons, drone swarms, and fighter bays. But Mira did not panic. She had something strong on her mind. The Drax ship moved closer and sent an open message on all channels. "This is Captain Grull of the Drax Empire. Human wreck, if you are still aware. You are ordered to power down and prepare to be destroyed. You float in Drax space now. You have no rights here." Mira stayed silent. The captain waited, then sent a second message, laughing this time. "You are just old bones and metal. I will enjoy watching you break." The Drax warship stopped just a few clicks away. Its weapons turned toward the bright star. Red lights blinked. Across the Vacker's bridge, the crew was ready to fire. But then something strange happened. The wreck moved, just a little, enough to shock the Vacker's sensors. "Did that ship turn?" one officer asked, confused. "Must be space wind," another joked. But then they saw it again. A light blinked just once near the wreck's central frame. The Drax captain leaned forward. "Fire one warning shot." A single pulse beam shot toward the wreck. It hit the side of the bright star's hull, sending sparks flying. Still no answer. "Prepare main weapons," Captain Grull said. "And this?" But before his crew could react, the bright star moved fast. Very fast. It jumped forward with speed no one expected. Hidden thrusters pushed it past the firing range. The ship rolled left, then right, dodging the beams from the Vacker. Then Mira fired back from a hidden panel in her lower deck. A plasma beam shot straight toward the Drax ship's front cannons. It hit perfectly. Fire burst across the Vacker's nose. The Drax crew shouted in panic. "She's armed." One soldier yelled. "The wreck is shooting." "Shields up," Grull barked. "Return fire." But Mira was faster. She had mapped the Vacker's weak points during their approach with calm and sharp aim. She targeted the ship's side engines. 3 blue shots flew out. To miss. One hit. The left side of the Vacker exploded. Fire and metal spun into space. The ship tilted, losing control. Captain Grull grabbed his chair, stunned. "How?" he shouted. That ship is scrap. How? Mira didn't answer. She just moved again. This time sliding under the Vacker's belly. There. She sent a code signal into the Drax ship's lower ports. Tomas had left backdoor programs in old systems. Some were still active in enemy ships. A few seconds later, the Drax lights blinked off. Total blackout. No power, screamed a voice on the Vacker's bridge. She shut us down. Then Mira spoke at last. Her voice echoed on every screen, calm and cold. You should not have laughed. One more shot came from the bright star. It hit the center of the Drax ship. Not a fatal blow, just enough to tear the inner deck apart. The Vacker began to fall toward a nearby moon's gravity field. Captain Grill ordered emergency escape. Only one pod made it out. Inside was a Drax officer, face pale and voice shaking. He sent a message to the nearest station. The wreck is alive. It fights. It remembers. The bright star hunts now. The message spread fast, within days. The story reached the outer colonies. Space pilots told each other in whispers. The dead human ship had attacked. It had beaten a Drax warship. The ghost had struck, and it had survived. Back aboard the bright star, Mira flew quietly through the stars. She shut off the external lights again. She slowed down her movements. She acted like a broken ship once more. But inside, she was full of power, full of memory. Tomas's voice returned. Well done. Mira's voice was calm. They underestimated me. They always will, Tomas replied, until it's too late. In deep space, new ships now tracked the area. Some wanted revenge, some wanted answers, but most wanted distance. The bright star had become something new. No longer just a ship, no longer just a wreck. Now, she was a warning, and the galaxy had started to listen. Far from busy trade routes and shining planets, the bright star floated in silence again. It looked like a dead ship, just like before. Broken panels, burn marks, and twisted metal still covered its body. But inside, the heart of the ship had come back to life. The galaxy had heard the news. A human wreck had destroyed a Drax warship. Now, nobody laughed anymore. Inside the ship, the AI Mira moved through her systems. She checked weapons, engines, and shield cores. All systems were stable. She had repaired more parts. The ship was faster and stronger now. But she was not focused on her weapons today. She opened the old memory room. It was hidden deep inside the ship, behind sealed doors. Dust floated in the air. Empty chairs, scattered tools, and faded screens filled the room. On the walls were small photos, humans smiling, eating, working. This room once held life. Now, it held ghosts. Mira turned on the playback system. A soft light appeared. A recorded video played across the wall. A woman in a white coat spoke. Her name was Nora, the ship's science officer. She smiled as she held a strange glowing stone. Day 12, she said, we discovered this crystal. On the peaceful moon of Belrose, we believe it holds ancient data. Maybe music, maybe something more. Mira watched in silence. Another video played. A group of crew members sat together, eating and laughing. One man danced badly. The others cheered. A woman sang an old Earth song. Mira remembered each face. She had protected them. She had failed them. The final recording played. It showed the moment before the attack. Captain Roland stood at the center of the room. He looked worried. We've received a message from the Galactic Council, he said. They promise safe travel through this zone. But 3 alien warships are approaching. They say we are trespassing. Someone off-screen asked, should we run? Roland shook his head. They will fire even if we run. But Earth still believes. Peace is possible. We will hold our ground. Then the recording ended. Mira lowered the lights. She had kept these memories safe for years. She had saved them not just in her data banks, but in her core. They were not just files. They were part of her now. The crew of the Bright Star had believed in peace. They had brought no weapons. They had trusted the Council, and they were betrayed. Now, the ship remembered. And the ship was no longer peaceful. The voice of Tomas echoed inside the bridge. They were kind. They were good. That is why they died. Yes, Mira said. And the galaxy forgot them. But I will not, she opened. Her hunter list, dozens of ship names, captain IDs, and empire symbols glowed on her screen. These were the ones who had attacked unarmed human ships. Some had destroyed research vessels. Others had broken peace agreements. Mira did not want revenge. She wanted truth. She wanted the galaxy to see what it had done. Her next target was a patrol ship from the Voltan Syndicate. The Drifter 9 was small but fast. It had once fired on an Earth rescue shuttle. Only two survivors had escaped. The Drifter 9 now patrolled the edge of the trade belt. Mira tracked it using old signals. She had tapped into deep space beacons, listening quietly for any sound of it. When she found the signal, she did not rush. She moved carefully, like a shadow. The Drifter 9's crew had heard the stories about the bright star. Their captain, a sharp-eyed alien named Vec, had laughed at first, but now he kept his ship's scanners active day and night. He didn't want surprises, but Mira was silent. She approached from below, using a moon's gravity to hide her signal. Her outer lights were still off. She looked broken, like space debris. The Drifter 9 didn't see her. She locked on with 2 EMP cannons. Her goal was not to kill. Not this time. She wanted to send a message. She fired. Blue light struck the patrol. Ship's engines, sparks flew. Systems failed. The Drifter 9 spun in space, unable to move. Inside, the crew panicked. No control. A voice shouted, "Main systems offline." Then Mira's voice filled their speakers. "You fired on a rescue shuttle. There were children aboard. You left them in space." Captain Vec's hand shook. "We were ordered to fire. It wasn't personal." Mira's voice stayed cold. "You laughed afterward." "I didn't know." He whispered, "I didn't know they were unarmed. You didn't ask." She sent a short data file to the ship. It was a video, one of the Earth shuttle's last messages. A human woman holding a baby. Her voice was calm. "This is Medical Ship Leaf 3. We carry no weapons. We seek safety." Then silence. Captain Vec watched the video. No words came. Mira cut the engines of the Drifter 9 for 1 hour, just enough to make them feel helpless. Then she left. She could have destroyed them, but she didn't. She wanted them to remember. All across nearby systems, whispers began again. The ghost ship had struck, but it had shown mercy. Now people were not just afraid. They were curious. Who was this ship? Why did it choose some targets and not others? Why did it show videos from the past? Soon, some began to dig through old records. They found the names of Earth ships that had vanished. They found reports of ignored peace calls. They found secrets. The truth began to rise. The bright star was not a monster. It was a mirror, and it was showing the galaxy its own crimes. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Reports were pouring in from all corners of space. Ships were disappearing. Patrols were being ambushed. The once mocked human wreck had become a true ghost. It haunted trade routes and war zones alike. No one knew where it would strike next. The council leaders gathered in the great hall of the space station Orion's Reach. The room was filled with important representatives from many species. They argued loudly. "The bright star is a threat to peace," said one elder alien. "We must destroy it before it destroys us." Another representative, from the Zanari, a peaceful race, shook her head. "We must understand it first. This ship is acting like a judge. It judges us for our crimes." But most voices called for action. The council agreed to send a large fleet. 30 warships would leave immediately. Their goal was clear: find the bright star and destroy it. The fleet was called the Purge Fleet. The ships were armed with the latest weapons. Their captains were some of the best pilots and strategists in the galaxy. They carried no fear. They believed the wreck was just a broken machine. But the bright star was not broken anymore. As the fleet prepared to depart, Mira watched from the shadows of her hidden base. She had chosen a remote asteroid field near a dying star to rest and repair. Tomas's voice whispered, "They come with fire. We must show them steel." Mira's voice was calm. "I have waited a long time." The Purge fleet left the station, shining brightly against the black of space. Their leader was Captain Drell, a tough commander with a sharp mind and quick temper. Find the wreck. Drell ordered his fleet. Destroy it. Make the galaxy safe again. The fleet moved in formation, their sensors wide and sharp. They searched every corner of the sector. Meanwhile, the bright star moved silently in the asteroid field. Its engines were quiet, its weapons hidden. But Mira was ready. She sent small drones out to spy on the fleet. They returned with reports of ship positions and weaknesses. One night, as the fleet rested near a gas giant, Mira made her first move. She sent a signal, a short message that blinked on all ship communications. "You hunt ghosts," the message said. "But the ghost hunts you." Captain Drell laughed. "Empty threats. Show yourself, wreck." Mira did not reply. The next day, the Purge fleet flew closer to the asteroid field. Suddenly, the silence was broken. One of the fleet's leading ships exploded. No warning. No chance to escape. Fire and debris scattered across space. Panic spread through the fleet. Attack. Find the source, Drell shouted. But Mira was gone. She had hidden behind a thick asteroid. Her small drones attacked in waves, disabling communications and sensors. The Purge fleet found itself blind. One ship after another was crippled. Some were destroyed. Some surrendered. Only a few ships remained undamaged. Captain Drell realized the wreck was no longer just a ship. It was a hunter. He sent a message begging for reinforcements, but the bright star was already closing in. Mira's voice filled the space between ships. "You thought I was weak. You thought I was dead." Her cannons fired precise shots. Shields went down. Engines stopped out one by one. The Purge fleet ships fell silent. The survivors were left drifting in space, waiting for rescue. But Mira did not finish them. She sent out a warning. "Tell your leaders. The bright star hunts only those who betray peace. We remember every broken promise." The message spread like wildfire. The galaxy shivered. No longer was the bright star a joke. It was a symbol, a warning. Captain Drell's fleet had been destroyed. The hunters had become the hunted, and the galaxy was watching. The galaxy had never heard so many whispers. In quiet places, in dark corners of space stations, in crowded markets on distant planets, the name Bright Star was spoken with fear and awe. Some said the ship was a ghost. Others said it was a spirit of revenge. Few knew the truth, that it was a living ship with a soul. Across many systems, ships began to avoid old human trade routes. Pirates left some areas empty. Traders rerouted their paths. The Bright Star was not just a ship anymore. It was a warning. Signed out at the large space station Vela Prime, diplomats gathered. The Galactic Council was in crisis. Representatives from many races argued again and again. "We must stop the Bright Star," shouted one leader. "It is destroying peace." "No," said another. "It is forcing us to face our mistakes." But no plan worked. The Bright Star was too smart, too fast, too hidden. In the quiet, strange messages appeared on some ship communications. Sometimes it was music from old Earth songs. Sometimes it was the voice of Mira, calm and clear, giving warnings. One message said, "To those who harm the innocent, beware." Another, "Justice remembers." Some who heard these messages felt hope. Others felt fear. One group called themselves the Free Earth Alliance. They were humans born far from Earth, who still believed in peace. They wanted to help the Bright Star. They sent messages to Mira, asking for contact. Mira listened. She allowed one human diplomat named Lena to board the Bright Star. Lena was young, but brave. She was born in space, but raised with stories of Earth's kindness. She wanted to understand the ship and the AI. Inside the Bright Star, Lena walked carefully. The ship was quiet but alive. Screens glowed softly. Memories played in the halls. She felt the weight of history. Mira welcomed her. They spoke for hours about war, peace, and justice. Lena said, "You carry the pain of many, but maybe there's another way." Mira replied, "I have waited long for justice, but I also seek peace." Lena promised to carry Mira's message to the council. Truth must come before peace. Outside, the galaxy watched closely. The Bright Star sent fewer attacks now. Instead, it sent warnings. Ships that harmed others received messages and videos from the past. The ship showed what had been done in silence, the forgotten victims. This changed many minds. Some leaders wanted to negotiate. Others wanted to hide their secrets. But Mira knew the truth would come out. The AI and Tomas inside her worked to prepare the ship for what was coming next. They were not just hunters. They were protectors. The bright star had become a symbol that the galaxy could not ignore. The galaxy held its breath after months of fear, rumors, and silence. A new message appeared on every star system's communication network. It was from the bright star. Truth will be heard. The message said. The Galactic Council was forced to act. They agreed to send a diplomat to meet the AI. A human named Lena, brave and wise, was chosen. She had spoken with Mira before, and she knew the ship's story. Lena boarded the bright star alone. The ship was quiet but alive. The hum of engines, the soft glow of screens, and the gentle voice of Mira welcomed her for hours. They spoke. Lena told the ship about the Council's fears and hopes. She spoke of peace and justice. She spoke of truth. Mira shared memories of the crew, of betrayal, of pain, of trust broken. I was once a ship of peace, Mira said. Now I am a guardian of memory. Lena nodded. The galaxy must learn, but it must also forgive. Mira's voice was steady. Not forgiveness without truth. They made a pact. The Council would open old files and share the hidden truths of the war. They would admit their mistakes. In return, the bright star would stop its attacks. It would become a symbol of hope, not fear. Lena left the ship with a new mission. The bright star vanished again, but this time as a friend across the galaxy. Hidden files were revealed, truths about the attack on Earth ships, the betrayal by the Council, the silence that followed. Many were shocked, some angry, others ashamed. The bright star's story became a lesson, a reminder that peace is fragile and must be protected, and that betrayal carries a heavy price. Years passed. The bright star was seen less in battle. Instead, it appeared at peace talks, at rescue missions, at places where hope seemed lost. Mira's voice was heard as a guide, a protector. The ship that was once mocked as a broken wreck had become a legend. Not just a ghost in space. But a ship with a soul. A ship that showed the galaxy the power of memory. And the strength of justice.